The background and overall account of Saint Phanourius is limited. However, tradition says that Saint Phanourius was first discovered when Rhodes had been conquered by the Muslims, and the new ruler of the island wished to rebuild the walls of the city, which had been damaged in previous wars. While working on the repairs, the Muslims uncovered the ruins of a beautiful church and found many icons, most of which were badly damaged. However, one icon looked immaculate, as if it had been painted that day. They couldn't understand what the writing said on the icon, so called for the local bishop Nihilus to read it. It said, Saint Phanourius. The saint is depicted as a young soldier holding a cross in his right hand. On the upper part of the cross is a lighted taper. 12 scenes from his life are shown around the border of the icon, and these scenes show him being questioned by an official, being beaten with stones by soldiers, stretched out on the ground while soldiers whip him, then having his sides raked with iron hooks. He is also shown locked up in prison, standing before an official again, being burned with candles, tied to a rack, thrown to the wild animals, and being crushed by a large rock. The remaining scenes depict him standing before idols, holding burning coals in his hands, while a demon stands by, lamenting his defeat by the saint. And finally, the saint stands in the midst of a fire with his arms raised in prayer. These scenes clearly reveal that the saint was martyred. Upon discovery, the local bishop Nihilus sent representatives to the Muslim ruler, asking that he be permitted to restore the church. Permission was denied, so the bishop went to Constantinople, and there he obtained a decree allowing him to rebuild the church. At that time, there was no Orthodox bishop on the island of Crete. Since Crete was under the control of Venice, there was a Latin bishop. The Venetians refused to allow a successor to be consecrated when an Orthodox bishop died, or for new priests to be ordained, hoping that in time they would be able to convert the Orthodox population to Catholicism. Those seeking ordination were obliged to go to the island of Cythera. It so happened that 3 young deacons had travelled from Crete to Cythera to be ordained to the holy priesthood. On their way back, they were captured at sea by Muslims who brought them to Rhodes to be sold as slaves. Lamenting their fate, the 3 new priests wept day and night. While in Rhodes, the priests heard of the miracles performed by the holy great martyr Phanourius. They began to pray to him with tears, asking to be freed from their captivity. Each of the 3 had been sold to a different master, and so remained unaware of what the others were doing. By the mercy of God, each of the priests were allowed by his master to pray at the restored church of Saint Phanourius. They go to the church and kneel before the icon of the saint and ask to be delivered from the hands of imprisonment. That night, Saint Phanourius appeared to the 3 masters and ordered them to set the priests free so that they could serve the church, or he would punish them. The Muslims ignored the saint's warnings, believing the vision to be the result of sorcery. The cruel masters bound the priests with chains and treated them even worse than before. Then Saint Phanourius went to the priests and freed them from their shackles, promising that they would be freed the next day. Appearing once more to the Muslims, the holy martyr told them severely, "If you do not release your slaves by tomorrow, you shall witness the power of God." The next morning, all the inhabitants of the homes where the priests were held awoke to find themselves blind, paralysed, and in great pain. They considered what they were to do, and so decided to send for the priests. When the 3 priests arrived, they asked them whether they could be healed. The priests replied, "We will pray to God. May his will be done." Once more, Saint Phanourius appeared to the Hagarenes, ordering them to send to the church a document granting the priests their freedom. He told them that if they refused to do this, they would never recover their sight or health. All three masters wrote letters releasing the priests and sent the documents to the church, where they were placed before the saint's icon. Before the messengers returned from the church, all those who had been blind and paralysed were healed. The priests joyfully returned to Crete, carrying with them a copy of the icon of Saint Phanourius. Every year they celebrated the feast of Saint Phanourius with deep gratitude for their miraculous deliverance. And the saint's name sounds similar to the Greek verb phaneurano, which means to reveal or to disclose. Phaneurano. For this reason, people pray to Saint Phanourius to help them find lost objects. When the object is recovered, they bake a sweet bread and share it with the poor, offering prayers for salvation of the saint's mother. Her name is not known, but according to tradition, she was a sinful woman during her life. Saint Phanourius had promised to help those who pray for his mother in this way. So that was the brief story of Saint Phanourius. Hope you enjoyed it. It was actually told to me by my godparent, the story of Saint Phanourius, after I asked him who his favourite saint was, or a saint that he has been reading about recently. And Saint Phanourius is someone that he and his wife pray to when they lose items, and he has revealed the item's location. So that's this week's Saint a Week. Thanks for watching.